Good evening, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the south. 2 teenage girls killed while out running with their athletics club in Aldershot. A soldier is arrested on suspicion of drink driving.
I heard one of the mums scream and it went straight through me.
Jobs blow. 270 workers at a pharmaceutical giant in Havant are at risk.
Could these goggles transform the way we view the beautiful game? Andrew Pate test drives a football first.
There's not long to go until the big day. We find out which toys are expected to do well this Christmas.
Good evening. 2 teenage girls killed when they were hit by a car while out jogging in Aldershot have been described as 2 promising young athletes.
Stacey Burrows, who was 16, and Lucy Pigott, who was 17, were killed on Queen's Avenue outside the Aldershot garrison last night. The driver, a 24-year-old soldier, has been arrested on suspicion of drink driving.
Stacey and Lucy were both students at Farnborough's Sixth Form College. Tonight, their athletics club says they were following their dreams to be the best runners.
Our reporter Mel Bloor is at the scene tonight.
Yes, it's been an incredibly difficult day, and friends of the girls who continue to visit the scene this evening to lay flowers, understandably very upset and still in shock actually. I've been talking to some of them who describe Lucy and Stacey as very bright girls, great runners with great futures ahead of them. In fact, they were due to compete at a competition in Spain next weekend, so the news of their deaths has been very hard to take. Fighting back the tears, friends of the teenage girls arrived at the scene of the crash this morning to lay flowers and pay their respects. Lucy Pigott, who was 17, and Stacey Burrows, who was 16, were knocked down as they tried to cross the road during a training session for Aldershot Farnham and District Athletics Club.
Stacey was always a really keen runner. She would always turn up to events and stuff. Always put 110% effort into every race. She'd always try her best.
I think what's hit everyone quite hard is this week they also had a big I think it was a European race in Spain, I think it was. But now that's completely been taken away from them.
The crash happened just after 7 o'clock last night. Shortly after, the black Ford Focus, which collided with the girls, was towed away. The driver, a 24-year-old soldier, arrested at the scene. The girls were both students at Farnborough Sixth Form College, where a book of remembrance has been opened. Tributes have also been paid on social media. Olympic runner Eilish McColgan said her thoughts go out to family, friends and teammates. Paula Radcliffe tweeted, "Such tragically sad news. Thoughts with all the family and friends."
My daughter, she runs for Portsmouth Athletics. She's a friend of Lucy's, so I decided that today I'd just come up and pay our respects as a family and just drop some flowers off because sad times for everyone.
Well, tonight Lucy's family have paid tribute to her, saying that she was an absolute joy to us and we feel lucky that she's been part of our family for 17 years. Well, earlier a club spokesman for the athletics club visited the scene and gave us this statement.
The club is absolutely devastated to lose such amazing, talented young female athletes. Our thoughts and prayers are with the 2 families who are being supported by the Police Family Liaison Team. Additionally, the club are aware that many athletes, parents and coaches have been greatly affected by this incident, and we are currently arranging support for them and their families.
Well, tonight the arrested driver remains in police custody as officers continue to support the girls' families.
Mel Bloor reporting there. In other news, a cyclist has admitted killing a pedestrian during a dispute over a one-way road in Gosport. Roy Galvin, who was 69, suffered a serious head injury on Bury Road in Gosport in September. He later died in hospital. 28-year-old Duncan Snellgrove from Gosport has pleaded guilty to manslaughter.
270 jobs are at risk at the pharmaceutical company Pfizer in Havant. The global company has announced it's to close its packaging and distribution site on New Lane within the next 4 years. In a statement, Pfizer said its priority is to support affected colleagues and try and sell the site. A further 100 jobs will be lost at a manufacturing facility in London.
I think it's very disappointing for Havant that Pfizer, a blue chip company, is closing down in this wonderful borough of ours. But we are open for business. And if and when, in 3 years' time, Pfizer does eventually close down with 270 job losses, we will ensure as best we possibly can that those job losses will be redistributed throughout the borough.
Well, despite that major jobs blow announced in Havant, there are more people in the south in work today than at any time in history.
Yes, every day there are hundreds of vacancies waiting to be filled. So what's stopping some people getting a job and what's being done to help them? Richard Jones reports.
At this jobs fair in Southampton last month, there were more than 1,000 vacancies on offer, more than 1,000 chances for an unemployed person to get into work. And that's not unusual. Across the country, there are more jobs available than ever.
The number of people employed is at historically high levels, so 31.81 million people in employment, and the level of unemployment on the basis of the number of people claiming benefit is back to the pre-recession levels, back to pre-1975.
Yet there are still around 2,000 people on job seekers allowance in Southampton. Why?
Because all the people that are easy to get into work are largely in a position somewhere. So the difficult task for us as a council and probably as a society is to say, well, there are another section of people that could be in work but require more assistance and more help to get there. And they're the ones that we need to be working with now.
This project, run by Brockenhurst College, provides training, support and encouragement for people trying to get into work.
We've given people the chance to go through a food hygiene course, which is obviously something that employers are looking for, as well as health and safety in the workplace, customer service training. So the skills and the knowledge that they would gain through spending time with us is something that would be really beneficial to an employer.
Martin Cullen has been unemployed for just over a year.
I lack confidence to some extent, applying for jobs that basically you've got no chance of getting, but it's always, you get downhearted when you say, well, you're too old or you ain't got the qualifications for that. But I always thought there would be something suitable for me if I kept on persevering.
Now Martin's going to be one of 500 people working here at the new West Quay development in Southampton. When the project started, the decision was taken to recruit from as wide a range of people as possible.
It was important to access all of the areas of the city, and in particular, we're aware that there are some parts of the community who will need that bit of extra help to bring them into the sort of employment that we're offering here.
There are many reasons why people are out of work.
We've had customers who have, lost their job because they've had a bereavement at home or they've had a relationship breakdown. It hasn't been their fault, but now they've got to rebuild their lives and get themselves back into work.
Claire Moylan hasn't had a paid job since the age of 16. She's been busy bringing up 4 children. Now she wants to get into work and she's nervous. She's looking for help.
Just to bring my confidence up, to be able to speak to people on my own without having anyone with me, just to be outspoken and upbeat instead of being all shy and not wanting to ask anyone any questions or go for any interviews or anything like that, really. I've been too scared, just don't know. I'm not even going to bother trying.
Lack of confidence is a major issue, but some job seekers face other problems. Tomorrow, why someone's age can be a barrier, and how a shortage of staff could put more power in the hands of anyone looking for work. Richard Jones, ITV News.
And for more on all of our stories, head to itv.com/Meridian. Call us or get in touch via Facebook or send us a tweet.
Here on ITV at 6:30 is the ITV National News, coming live this evening from America with reaction to Trump's triumph. Well, the news of him becoming the next president has been met with much surprise this side of the pond. Earlier today, Brighton MP and Green Party co-leader Caroline Lucas had this to say about the result.
Well, I think it is deeply concerning. We now have a dangerous, racist, misogynist person who's going to be the leader of the most powerful country in the world, somebody who mocks people with disabilities, someone who has made their hatred of Mexicans and Muslims a kind of badge of honour. So I do think these are very dark days.
Well, our reporter Kate Bunkle has been to meet workers from the American Research Institute based in Oxford to see what they've made of the past 24 hours.
This was supposed to be a party, but this morning the cakes remained untouched. At the Rothermere American Institute in Oxford, they'd been rooting for a Clinton win.
I just woke up this morning with a sense of utter disbelief. I never thought I'd wake up to Trump having won the presidency.
I'm surrounded by Americans who look like they're going through the shock that I felt around Brexit. As a Brit.
If you look at what most analysts predicted, obviously most of the poll projections, this is not what was anticipated. So it's going to be an adjustment, I think. Here at the Institute this morning, we've got a lot of my compatriots who were processing the news and with a range of feelings about them. There's a lot of anxiety, I think, about the future.
This was Oxford University's American Society last night, chanting for Mrs. Clinton. Today, their president was subdued.
Of course, those of us here were very far from friends and family. I know for myself, I've been messaging back and forth frantically all morning and through the night as well with friends and family back home. So, I mean, yes, I think in general a state of great disbelief. But again, as Barack Obama himself said, you know, the sun will rise again.
At his home in Oxford, Bernie Sanders' brother Larry was also reflecting on what could have been if Trump had had a different adversary.
I am upset. I think it's a bad step for America and quite a bad step for the world.
And I asked you before, have you spoken to Bernie this morning yet?
I haven't. I'll get to him in a day or two. Both of us need to recover, him a little bit more than me.
After all, it's only lunchtime in America, which means they've had much less time to digest the news. Kate Bunkle, ITV News, Oxford.
Well, now for the second in our series about fertility. With 1 in 6 people having trouble conceiving in this country, starting a family is a challenge for lots of couples. Yesterday, we heard from people who feel compelled to help by becoming egg or sperm donors.
Today, we meet those on the receiving end of such help and a family who chose to use a surrogate to have a child. Stacey Foster will tell us more.
This isn't an ordinary family photograph. But then this isn't any ordinary family. Marnie and Dexter are 2.5 years old. They're twins. And while we're on the subject of pairs, they have 2 dads. And also, sort of, 2 mums. And the story of how the twins came to be in this world is fascinating.
We didn't know Sue was a surrogate at the time that we first met her. We were just all walking up a hill. It was an organised social event through Surrogacy UK.
I sort of just clicked with them, and that was my first social that I went to, and we got on really well and we just kept in contact.
Sue was obviously then interested, and we built up a little bit of friendship.
And after about 3 months, I just thought these are the people that I want to carry a baby for.
We were originally on a waiting list for an anonymous egg donor.
I worked with Lucy, we were friends anyway. She phoned and just straight on the phone just said, I'll do it.
She said, do what? I said, I'll donate my eggs. I said, I'd like to meet. So we all met up with Gary and Andy and we just clicked straight away. It was like we'd been friends for so long.
So from going from not knowing who the egg donor was going to be to suddenly meeting the possible biological mother of our child was quite a significant change for us.
Yeah, I think we always wanted to know who that person was.
Lucy's eggs were fertilised at the clinic with Andy and Gary's sperm. They ended up with 3 embryos. The first was unsuccessful, but when the other 2 were transferred, Sue became pregnant with twins.
giving them back to their parents at the end was just a fantastic experience, really fantastic. You can't really explain it to people, you know, but they were never mine, I was just giving them back to their parents.
But actually, surrogacy laws in the UK meant that when the twins were born, Sue was classed as the legal mother. Gary and Andy then had to apply to the courts to become Marnie and Dexter's legal parents.
I just thought it'd be something that's that incredible and amazing, and it only happens to others. But the fact that we've got 2 kids proves it happens to anybody.
Marnie. I have a special bond with them. It's really, really hard to explain until you're in that situation, but there definitely is a special bond with them, and they've got a lot of traits of what my 2 children have got as well.
Turned out great.
You're just hopeful that you have a child, so it was a shock to have 2, but to have a boy and a girl is amazing, yeah.
That's why we're extremely lucky, really, because to have one of each, as Guy said, and them to be just great, it's fabulous.
The grandparents came in to see them, and Andy's mum and dad hadn't got any grandchildren, and just to see that had not only made parents, but grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, it's the ripple effect of it all, that it's just fantastic.
Gay couples are not currently eligible for any type of IVF treatment on the NHS, but things could be changing. The World Health Organization is currently considering revising the definition of infertility, which might mean that in the future gay couples or single people could be eligible for help to become parents.
I think it's always going to be a very small number of people who choose to form these alternative families using the technology of IVF. The overwhelming majority of people having fertility treatment in the UK are people who'd always assumed, always wanted to be parents, and then about 1 in 6 of them discover that Mother Nature won't oblige.
They're known as Auntie Sue and Auntie Lucy, and I don't think there's any reason why we wouldn't tell them anything about how it's been.
I think it's a bit difficult to judge when, maybe when they ask a few questions. I have already said to them that they have come from Sue's tummy. I don't think they quite understand it all yet, but there's a special bond there. Obviously they don't quite know what that bond is yet, but we'll enjoy telling them that when the time's right.
Well, as the father of twins, I can understand their joy. OK, we're talking sport now with Andrew Pate, or should it be Gogglebox?
Well, exactly. Look at this. We start with a new way to watch football because Brighton and Hove Albion are introducing their own virtual reality goggles. Beautifully modelled there. Sorry. They're the first football team in the country to do it, and it allows you to get a player's eye view of the action from in the tunnel to out on the pitch, as I found out last night.
Selco Builders Warehouse, proud sponsors of ITV Meridian Sports Report.
So I've come along to enjoy this football match. I'm sat here in the middle of the stand at the Amex Stadium, but where I prefer to be is down in the tunnel or next to the managers. So I put on my virtual reality goggles and I look around, over to the pitch, around the stand. I get to be in the middle of the action. On our TV screens, the virtual reality looks rather odd, but in the goggles, it's one clear 3D image, which goes round 360 degrees. 12-year-old ball boy Paddy Gladman from Worthing is one of the first to give them a go.
It was like a really good experience because something that as a child like I'd want to do, like I'd want to be a footballer for my favourite club Brighton, and it was like being with my favourite players, like heroes really, like people who you look up to as a child.
It'll be launched in the family stand at Brighton's match with Aston Villa on Friday the 18th. Do you think it adds to the whole experience of coming here to the Amex?
I think it does, yeah. I mean, obviously, as a supporter, you sit in your seat and you see the players out on the pitch, but to be able to see what they're seeing on a match day, I think is completely unique and something that hopefully our supporters will like and appreciate.
For us football fans, it really is great. We'll still come along and cheer on the team, But with these virtual reality goggles, it means you really do feel you're right in the middle of it. Yeah, a lot of fun at the Amex. And straight after that last night, Brighton's under-21 side saw off Leyton Orient, Richie Towell scoring in the Checkatrade Trophy. Also in that competition, Portsmouth beat Bristol Rovers, Cal Naismith with the goal. Swindon won at Exeter on penalties, but Oxford United lost to Chelsea under-21s by 13 penalties to 12. 2 yachtswomen from Weymouth have been named Female World Sailors of the Year at a prestigious awards ceremony. Hannah Mills and Saskia Clark were recognised for their achievements in the sport, including winning gold at this year's Olympics. And in the Vendée Globe solo round the world race, Alex Thompson from Gosport is currently in 8th place, but with just 3 days gone, it's still very tight. Finally from me, Southampton's legend Francis Benali is to be given the freedom of the city. The former Saints player ran and cycled to every Premier League and Championship stadium in just 2 weeks, raising nearly £400,000 for Cancer Research UK. And we'll be there to cheer Franny on next week.
Well done, Sir Francis.
Well deserved. Andy, thank you. Now, many of us are starting to think about Christmas shopping. Maybe you have done yours already.
But if you haven't and you have lots of children to buy for, maybe these children in Brighton could give you some ideas.
A yo-yo.
A yo-yo. You want your what, Dannon?
My own iPad.
Your own iPad? Oh dear.
I want a talking doll. I would like to have some Team Lego.
Maybe Octonauts, Go Jetters, World Peace. Oh!
A cricket helmet, a real one, and a cut milk sugar, then cut milk gloves. That's it.
Get right into Father Christmas, where the official list of this year's top toy predictions was announced today, and Lauren Hall has been to find out just what they are.
It's been quite a day, but if you need cheering up, just think, there's not long to go till Christmas. It's come early for these children, as they're given a chance to sample some toys, the ones which are expected to be this year's festive favourites.
I like computer games, really cute puppies and stuff like that.
The guns, definitely. I'm a girl and people expect me to play with girlish toys, but I like sort of the boyish toys, like this one and all the Nerf guns and stuff.
Whatever they're into, chances are there'll be something they want on the Dream Toys list. It's put together by an independent panel of retailers and every year predicts the top Christmas toys.
Clearly, some things never go out of fashion. I remember playing with some of these when I was younger. But of course, technology has come a long way. We are seeing more interactive toys and other gadgets and gizmos, all of them expected to be bestsellers this Christmas.
In fact, some of them already are, selling so well they're now in short supply, including the Speak Out game and Hatchimals. Those with children of a certain age will know just how difficult it is to get your hands on them. That's not the only challenge facing parents. Budgets don't always stretch far enough.
It's already an expensive time of year. What advice do you have for parents who are looking at these toys and thinking that they may not be within their price range?
I accept that's a real challenge for many families. Our top toys this Christmas average about £40 each, which is still quite a high ticket for some people. But many of the ranges of the toys, whether it's Lego, whether it's Shopkin, whether it's a game, there are items within that range of products that are slightly cheaper. So hopefully we've got items in our ranges that suit every price, everybody's budget.
Children are counting down the days, their parents are counting down the pennies. It won't be long before all the toys are wrapped up, ready for Christmas. Lauren Hall, ITV News.
Let's find out what Simon wants for Christmas.
What do you want?
Anything.
Anything?
Yeah, I'm happy with anything. Socks, that's what I normally get. But what I don't want is any more pictures of autumn colour. We've seen some lovely pictures come in. We promise you some more tonight. Please no more, we've got too many. But look at the gorgeous pictures that have come in. Caprine, how much autumn do you need?
Great.
Yes. Leaves and a bit of fungus luck in the New Forest. Fantastic photo there. And how about this for a nice bit of above and below action from Winkworth Arboretum near Godalming from Ray. That's an Acer tree, by the way, I now know. Speaking of which, underneath that one is Daisy, Lily and Chloe at Fursey Gardens in Lyndhurst. Love the pink wellies. One of my favourite places in the region, Stourhead, just on the Dorset-Wiltshire border. That's a gorgeous image, isn't it, from Mike Boss. And Mike's daughter, Tori, aged 10, has always wanted to get a photo on the telly. Self-portrait achieved that there. Look, she can't put a foot wrong. And Josephine, that's Jeff's mum, sent in this picture taken at Mottis Font, where even a grey and murky day couldn't spoil things. Thank you ever so much. We got loads more.
Lovely autumnal weather to come.
Ish.
Here he is, Simon Parkin.
From blizzards to pool, driving through Europe, Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Now, all this talk of autumn, but, you know, spring is still doing its thing in certain bits of the region. Helen in Blandford was, well, a bit surprised to find this rhododendron still in full bloom at the Upton Country Park in Poole. And have a look at this, clematis or clematis, what do you reckon? Either way, it shouldn't be doing what it's doing now in Bill's Garden in Sholing. But the weather over the next couple of days, you'll be pleased to know, looking a bit calmer than the last couple of days have been. The low pressure, that's drifting away. We get a ridge of high pressure to take us through Thursday and into Friday. But then on Friday, look what's waiting out to the west, another band of wet and windy stuff that's going to spoil the start of the weekend. So make the most of the calm conditions through this evening. Odd shower around at first, then we're largely dry for much of the night. There'll be some clear spells, and you can see that towards dawn there'll be a few more showers drifting in from the west as well. But enough breeze overnight tonight to mean that at least there won't be a frost, with temperatures down to around 3 or 4 degrees in some rural spots. Now those showers probably cleared by the time most of us wake up tomorrow morning. A lot of dry weather to get Thursday off to a good start, and some decent bright or sunny spells too. Few showers again will crop up as the day goes on, perhaps an odd heavier one as well, but many of us will stay dry. Less wind tomorrow, still a bit blowy along the coast, gusts of around 20-25 miles an hour, and certainly inland it won't be quite as windy as it's been today, but temperatures still a bit disappointing, only just getting into the 10s and 11s down towards the coast. 11 is 52 in Fahrenheit. As for your high tide times, well, you can see Poole Harbour around 6:15 in the morning, then 6:05 tomorrow evening.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
In just a moment, the ITV Evening News live from the USA.
Sangeeta's got our late news live from this studio. But for now, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thank you very much indeed for watching. Take care. See you soon.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.